Hey guys, welcome back to another 3D printing video. So in this video, I want to address a few more things, especially about the price. Also, we'll take this thing apart somewhat and we'll kind of look at the quality and the build and, you know, what the internals look like, because a lot of this stuff is shielded and you can't see anything. And also a few little fixes and upgrades. So let's get to it. Alright guys, so the first thing I want to show you is the price. So there's been a little bit of misconception about, you know, how much this printer costs and where you can find one. Apparently this is a pretty special deal on eBay from Monoprice. Not sure why Monoprice does not sell this printer exclusively, even through their website. But they do have these weird specials that pop up once in a while, and this is one of the printers that does that. And it's very weird that they only do it this way. They did have 2,400 units available almost, as you can see right here. If you were one of the guess lucky, if you consider that lucky to get one, then you know that was a great deal, obviously. So I have seen these in the past pop up, believe it or not. I just never was really interested in one. In my mind, it was too complicated to even mess with, but I gave it a shot on this time around when I saw it again, and as you guys know, to my amazement, it's a pretty fun hobby to get into. So I guess this is to address all the people that are, you know, a little bit upset about where to find this printer. All right guys, so what you're looking at here is the hot end with the fan here. So one of the issues that I've been having, this fan is grossly out of balance. I think that's what's going on. So you can't really tell, obviously, just by spinning it. But whenever it spins up, it has vibration to it, and it's a big vibration. And the crazy part is that it makes this whole cage here vibrate, which translates to like this buzzing sound, kind of like a, you know, like a vibrating sound. So it's kind of like resonating. So let's go ahead and turn it on here, and it's kind of making it now. I don't know if you guys will pick it up, but it's like this droning noise. I'm gonna stop the fan with my hand, and you guys maybe can tell the difference from it. So hopefully you'll be able to hear that, but that is one of the issues I'm having. So the fan is very out of balance. I guess there's a few options I have. I can either get a new fan, you know, which probably is the best option, but you know, since this one still works and it's fine, I just want to maybe damper it. So what my idea is to unscrew it here and maybe put some kind of layer of rubber in between the fan and the metal housing here. So in the kit they provide the Allen wrenches. There's 3 of them. This is one of them. So there's only 2 bolts that are holding the fan. Simple as loosen them and the fan completely becomes loose. So here guys, you can see the design of how this works. So it has a little cutout about halfway that blows on the hot end there, and the reason it needs to do that, I think, is that whenever the filament's coming through, it needs to still stay cool before it gets to the hot end. So in order for the filament not to completely clog this whole area, the radiator here keeps it cool before it gets right to the end where it needs to heat up and melt. So it's basically a transition that's very controlled between the filament coming in cold and it melting and coming out. So this is why it's important to cool this guy, because if you don't, you're gonna melt to the top and probably get a clog. So in this design, the fan does both things. It cools, and then it also blows under here. There's a little chute here, and it blows under there, you know, to cool the print. So as it's laying down the layer, it can cool it, you know, that way the next layer is ready to go on top of that. And that's pretty important too. So we're gonna try to add some kind of little rubber piece in between this mount here and see if we can get that vibration to go lower. Alright guys, so what I did is I found some ear plugs here, and they're made out of this really squishy foamy material that seems to be very good in absorbing vibration. And what I did is just cut little pieces off of it and put it in there. So obviously there might be a better solution than this, but this is all I got to work with. So we're just going to put this back on instead of, you know, tighten it really hard, the fan I mean. So I'm just going to loosely tighten it and then back off just a little bit, like half a turn. So it's still very solid in there. Well, let's see if that does the trick. So that appears to fix my issue, guys. So I don't have the droning noise anymore. I don't know if you guys can try to hear this, but there's almost no difference of when I touch it. Compared to before, it was very loud. Alright guys, so the next issue that I found is on this pulley right here. I don't know if you can tell on camera very much, but the belt wants to go this way. So it's rubbing against the pulley washer thing here, trying to go that way. So the reason for that, I think, is because this bolt is screwed in there crooked, like offset a bit like this. So it's making the belt, you know, rub against the side here. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this pulley off here and then try to bend this back just a little bit. And then we can see if we can line this belt up so it's a lot more straighter. You can kind of tell on the belt here that it's lighter colored here because it's been rubbing on the edge there. So I don't think it's like a huge deal, but I'm going to go ahead and try to fix that. So they don't provide the Allen wrench for this, I guess for good reasons. Probably don't want you to be working on that kind of stuff. Alright, so that wasn't too bad. So we're just going to put that back in. Then I'm going to just grab some pliers here and just try to very lightly bend it. So I definitely bent it there. I don't know if you guys saw. So hopefully that was not over bent. We'll find out here in a second. That's actually also going to tighten the belt a bit. So, and you don't want to tighten this bolt all the way because the pulley rides on it. So now the belt is running nice and true without, you know, trying to bind or anything. Alright guys, so the next thing I want to show you is that how my bed is warped, or at least has a dip here in the middle. Alright guys, I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see this or not, but right here the tip is touching the bed. This is about where the edge of the prints are. Now if I keep going this way, all of a sudden we're in the air. I don't know if you can see that or not, but our nozzle is not touching the bed anymore, and then we get closer to the end, it's starting to scrape the bed a little bit. So what I want to do is I want to try to add a little foam right in the middle of the bed under here. You know, that way we can bow out just a bit right in the middle. Alright, so we're going to take the top of the plate here off, and all we got to do is just unscrew these little knobs here. We got two more right here, and this should just go straight up. So here guys, you can kind of see, well maybe you can kind of see, there we go, the workings there underneath. So this is the switch that makes it stop whenever it hits the end like this. So that's how it goes home. So there's three switches. This is the I think this is a Y, and then we got the X up here and the Z up and down, which is over there in that tower. So let's take a look underneath the bed. So it's just a piece of aluminum. You can see there's fingerprints all over it, but it's a pretty simple kind of bed. So I'm thinking that if I put one of these little foams like this across, which seems to fit perfectly actually, then that will give us that little bow that we need to straighten out the bed. So now we just put our bed back on top. So now I'm going to compress it pretty good. So now that I'm thinking about it guys, I think I know why the bed was dipped. If you saw the first video, the way it chipped, there was a big strap or zip tie going across the bed this way. And this is why this little corner here is kind of messed up. And the strap was, you know, tightened down like this. So it made the whole bed kind of like when they tighten it, it, you know, made it sag in the middle, depending on how long it was in storage and what hot and cold it saw. But you know, when metal heats up and cools a few times, it tends to stay in that form. It doesn't bounce back. Even though this is aluminum, you know, it still affected it. So it could have been straight from the beginning. It's just the way they packed it, you know, and that's kind of unfortunate. That's these little minor things that, you know, companies don't take into account when they do pack their things. And you know, so I've had it sitting like this for a while, and you can kind of tell that, you know, it's bowed right now, like it's high in the middle and, you know, goes down the edges. So I got it pulled down pretty hard. So you can tell that there's a bow here. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to slowly, you know, bend this back, but I need so little, you know, I don't want to over bend it. So I think this is the best way to do it. That way, you know, it gradually kind of wants to go back where it was. And I don't think it needs much because it knows where it was before. It just needs a little help to get back to being straight. So now I'm just going to quickly take it off. Alright, so we had a pretty good squishing here because we made a few lines. So hopefully our bed is nice and straight now. And just by looking at it, it definitely looks better. Alright guys, and so all we got to do now is just level it. Alright guys, so hopefully you can see that. So the Z-axis is all the way down now. I'm going to make a little gap just like that. And see what we're looking like. So you can see how consistent that is. Let's go on this side. I think that's about the right gap. So I'm just going to go through and you guys can see that the dip is not there anymore. That's practically perfect all the way through. And that was definitely not the case before. So, all right, well, I'm super happy about that. So the next thing I want to do is I want to take off this panel here and the one underneath and kind of take a look a little closer of all the mechanisms and, you know, how it's put together. I want to remove the spool for now here. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 little bolts. I think that's how much there is. Well, I think that's all of them. Let's see if this thing comes off. All right, so this should be just a lid, not really anything structural. There we go, guys. All right, guys, so hopefully you can see that. So we have 1, 2, 3 rods that go up and down all the way to the tower, and that's what holds it from flexing side to side, just like that. So our stepper motor is underneath here, and then we have a coupling here, and then we have the, I don't know exactly what you would call it, the Z screw. So that's what makes the Z go up and down. So we do have like a mid supports the arm, you know, and also gives all these rods here more rigidity. Alright guys, so I just wanted to show you here towards the bottom, you can see these little screws here. So that hold the switch here for the Z axis. It pushes on this little switch here, and that what tells it to stop. That's how the printer knows where the bottom is. So if you needed to adjust that, there's actually channels that, as you can see here, it adjusts on. The Z screw here just goes up and stops. It's just in the air. And then right here is the stepper motor for the extruder on the top. So, and also there's another motor. I can't really show it to you good, but it's right here. So that's the motor that runs this hot end X axis. So the next thing I want to do is I want to lay it down. And this is the more exciting part here, is I want to take off this lid here on the bottom so we can look at all the components inside. Alright guys, and that's all the 8 bolts that hold this bottom plate. So let's look. Alright, this is what we look like. So it looks like there's a bunch of hot glue in there. So we got our little fan here that's mounted to the cover. Alright, so let's start from this end over here. So we have the power supply, and the most surprising part about this power supply, guys, is that it's a name brand and it's a Meanwell. Meanwell is a well-known certified power supply that's reliable, apparently. At least that's what I hear. And also it is a 24 volt 2.2 amp power supply, so you know it's plenty for running just these little stepper motors and electronics. So, but it is not intended for a heated bed, obviously. But that's pretty amazing that there's actually a high quality power supply in here. And you can see all the connectors up there are nicely insulated and all that good stuff. So okay, so here we have a stepper motor for the Y-axis. That's the one that goes, you know, back and forth on the plate. So here we have the power socket where you plug it in and turn it on. So that runs to the power supply. And then from the power supply we have 2 pretty large wires here running to the board, which is actually a pretty nice looking board, guys. And here we have another stepper motor, and this is a much larger one. That was actually a smaller one over there. This one's much bigger. So this is the one that runs the Z-axis all the way up and down. The thing that's surprising me the most about this printer is that everything seems to be high quality. At least how everything's put together. Let's get a little closer look at that board. I don't really know what I'm looking at, but if anybody does, that might be useful. So hopefully you can see that a little better, but it seems like a very, very clean built board. And they got hot glue all over this thing everywhere. I don't know if you guys can make out that chip right there. So, and we do have the 1, 2, 3, 4 stepper motor drivers right there, which are looks like to be built into the board. So, and the little fan here on the side is what cools those down. So yeah guys, I'm very blown away at the electronics of this thing and how it's been put together and what's included. So I'm really impressed how this thing is built, and now I feel like I really got my money's worth. Seeing that quality supply, seeing how everything was put together, you know, the glue everywhere holding everything together, quality materials, thick wires here. So it looks like a printer that will last. The only thing I don't think is that good is these fans. I don't know if it's just that one bad one, but you know, fans are not too expensive to replace, worst case. So, and it would be pretty easy, as you guys see, just take this lid off and, you know, here the fan is. All right, so let's go ahead and put this lid back on. And I'm kind of excited to print something on the bed since we leveled it out. All right, and that is it. All right guys, so we're gonna print something, but before we do that, I want to address, and whenever I'm making a time lapse, because everything is moving you know, it doesn't look very good. You can't really tell the details of the growth there in the time lapse. So instead of, you know, putting on a tripod this GoPro that I got here and filming it, I kind of thought about it, and I have a lot of extra bed here because the printer doesn't print farther than here. It might print farther than that, I just don't have it adjusted. In any case, it prints somewhere around here, and I have all this room here just doing nothing. So I was thinking, why not just put the GoPro here? And I don't know if you guys can see that, but it looks like we can fit the whole printer in there. Actually, I'm thinking about doing like an angle. I think that would look better towards this side here. And now we're nice and stiff. And the cool part is that if we don't want to do a time lapse, we've barely added any weight with this little mount here. So yeah, that's pretty exciting. Alright guys, so I got the printer ready, everything's set up, and the thing I want to print is this self-watering planter. So it's kind of nice, and I think it'll look good, and it comes in 2 pieces. So we're going to print the pot gray and the reservoir white, so that's the idea. So the bed is leveled, the GoPro's on, the glue is right here in the middle where it needs to be, and we should be good to go. Let's see what it looks like. Alright guys, as you can see, it is finished and it looks pretty good. It does look a little rough, and I think I know why. Should come off relatively easy. There we go. So it did end up being really stringy, and I think the reason for that, when I sliced it with the recommended settings, but then I forgot that I scaled it. The reason I had to scale is because the height wouldn't fit. Maybe it would have, but in any case, I scaled it, and I think that kind of threw off all the settings. It doesn't look too bad, it's just a little bit stringy. So I think I printed at 0.3 layer height. I think a 0.2 would have been perfect. But it looks like it does really good with the sidewall. So the reason you see kind of differences here, this is where I changed the temperature. It was hotter here and then not as hot. So I think I should keep it hotter. This is PLA plus. But in any case, so this piece won't be seen almost at all, just the little top part. And the skirt here, or brim, whatever it's called, it comes right off. That was just for extra stability. All right, cool. So let's change the filament and print the other piece now. So I don't know if you guys remember from my last video that I had this spool here that came in and it was cracked completely. So what I ended up doing is just super gluing it. So it's still kind of fragile, but I realized that the centerpiece here is the main, part that needs to be strong, and that's fine. It's just the edges here were not holding the filament in. In any case, I think it should be fine. And I was happy to put it together so I can use it, because I don't have an extra spool I can rewind and all that stuff. So pulling it out is pretty easy. Preheat the nozzle and then kind of push it in and then pull it out. All right, and that should be good to go. I'm going to put a nice layer here. So this next piece should be quite a bit bigger here. Make sure we have plenty of glue everywhere. And that's what I noticed, as long as you have plenty of glue, the prints stick really good. So I did plug the GoPro in because it was going to die. It was way too much for the battery. So I do have it plugged in here. So hopefully that's not going to be an issue. Shouldn't. So I'm going to start off kind of hot. So I'll put the nozzle to like 218 on that first layer especially, and then we'll put it back to about 208 or something. So it looks like it's doing just fine. And hopefully this print will come out good. Alright guys, so the outer part has finished and it's looking really good. Go ahead and turn off the printer here so it's not making so much noise. And now let's see if we can take this guy out here. So yeah, removing stuff from the bed has been pretty easy overall, as you guys can see. But check out that bottom, that looks super good. It's pretty smooth overall, look at that. So that just tells me the bed is very level, or pretty level now, compared to what it was before. The brim, or whatever it's called, I think it's brim, yeah. It just comes right off. Super easy. So I'm pretty happy at how this piece came out overall. Obviously it's not perfect, but from the settings I had, these are the same settings as this here. And this, turned out pretty terrible compared to the other one, so pretty nice. So let's see if they actually fit together. So there's a little lip here inside that supposed to catch it right here. So. And look at that, it's a perfect fit. But I'm sure if I would have printed this in 0.2 millimeters, it would have looked way better than this. All right, so this is done. Let's go ahead and put something in here and see if it actually works. All right, guys, so hopefully you can hear me. I don't know, it's kind of windy and noisy outside. But here we are outside, and I'm gonna try to plant this little plant here into this new pot that we 3D printed. So first thing I wanna do is to see if the water actually holds in this thing. So I'm gonna put a little bit of water in here. All right, guys, so it appears to be watertight. So there's no water leaking out of it, which is really cool. It's just impressive that it even holds the water. All right, let's see if we can get this little plant in here. It's kind of a little big probably for this pot, but maybe we can shrink it a bit. It's too dry. It hasn't got water in a while, looks like. But it seems to fit in there pretty good overall. All right, guys, so the idea is that whenever you put this in the cup, you know, about this much water here in these little holes here, you know, it'll seep it into the soil and, you know, give the roots the water they need. Will always be available of water, you know. It's a really neat design. So let's go ahead and set this guy in there. And so now it's gradually gonna suck up water. All right, guys, so this was really fun to print, and to actually put a plant in it is, you know, really nice, and you can see how good it looks, especially indoors. So yeah, guys, hopefully you enjoyed these videos, and this one might have been a little bit technical with all the little stuff here. Honestly, I'm learning myself and enjoying the process, so I love sharing it with you guys. So this will be the third video that I do of this printer. So I'm gonna keep using this thing and playing with it. And I got some more exciting stuff coming out for you guys. I have a different printer that I'm going to be unboxing, and it's actually very similar to this one in the bed size. It's a little bit bigger. It comes from a very credible company, and it's supposed to be a pretty amazing little printer. So, and we're gonna do a comparison with this one. So stay tuned for that unboxing of the new printer. And I just want to thank everyone again that has commented and suggested things. I've learned so much in such a short time. I know there's no way in the world that I'll be able to know everything, but I'm happy to give my opinions and my experiences to you guys, and hopefully these videos are helpful, especially if you're starting out. With this 3D printer, it was assembled, it was easy. So the next 3D printer we're gonna do is gonna be requiring some assembly. And yeah, we'll weigh out the options there and see if, you know, if it's worth going that route, or is it easier just to buy something that's ready to go out of the package. So all right, guys, so thank you for watching this video. If you liked it, then hit that like button. And if you want to see more videos with 3D printers, I'll try to do one 3D printer a week. So if you're interested in 3D printers, hopefully I'll be able to deliver some entertaining and informative videos that has to do with 3D printing. So I'm going to be learning a lot, and I'm going to be sharing it along the way. Also, guys, if you haven't seen my other videos of this printer, go check those out. I got an unboxing video and setup, and then I have an update video. So this would be the third one. So if you haven't seen those videos, go check that out. All right, guys, and as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.